There are a lot of people every day who go unnoticed as they give of themselves in one way or another in time or resource. They ask for nothing in return, nor do they ask for any type of credit or recognition. But their lives and their love leave a lasting impact on those around them. Why? Sometimes we see this lasting impact for generations after. I want to find out what the common thread is. I want to find out what the common ground is. These are the stories that I want to share. I have had the privilege of meeting with people and talking with people from all around the world, and I hope to share their stories. The question I ask myself is, what common ground can we all stand on? I hope to find out in these conversations. A wonderful quote from Mother Teresa says, "There are no great things, only small things with great love. Happy are those." Thank you, Miss Krystle, for joining me on this, and thank you for being willing to participate. I love that you are sharing a voice and sharing your heart on things, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say. So, first question I have, you're welcome. First question I have for you is there a person in your life that has made a significant impact in your life? You know that I asked you these questions on paper, but asking you here, made a significant impact on your life. Why did they make that significant impact? And then in addition, and you can kind of roll it together, what have you seen in your life that has changed, if anything, because of their impact or influence in your life?
Okay. So it would be Dr. Chuck.
Okay.
So Charles Deedson.
Okay.
And it's just been because I think having him as a doctor was the reason that after my accident, like I never felt like anything was really wrong. So to begin with, like I never felt any different. Mm-hmm. And even around like other kids, he was very, he made sure everything was fair to everybody.
Okay.
You know, and so that was a big thing growing up. And then just him giving people hope and being entertaining and enthusiastic all the time. He just makes people feel good.
Okay. And you feel like that made you change your perspective a little bit? It influenced you in how you had an outlook on life?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Yeah. Just now that I have kids, even more. Mm-hmm. So him being a doctor for kids specifically, mm-hmm. and having the patience he has because now I have kids.
Yeah, right.
But also like being understanding. So he's not just a doctor, but he's also, in a sense, he's kind of like a dad, but has no kids himself. Mm. But he comes off as a fatherly person. Mm-hmm. So.
And he never did have children?
No, he has no kids.
Wow.
And he's never been married either.
Do you know that before I met my husband, when I was a single mom by myself, that your mom tried to hook me up with him?
I remember.
I was like, what? No.
You know, say I want Michelle and Dr. Chuck to get together.
She always did. That's so funny. And she's like, all right, fine. It's like, oh my gosh, he's so out of my league.
He ended up dating Sarah Evans before she became popular.
No.
Before she became Sarah Evans.
He dated Sarah Evans before she was Sarah Evans.
Before she was who she is today, but she was a backup dancer for the Dixie Chicks.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he used to date her when she did that.
So obviously it didn't work out.
No, I don't think so. I think he just has dedicated his life to his work.
How long has he been a doctor?
You know, I don't even know. I've been in a wheelchair for 25 years, so it's been longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
Not much longer than that, I don't think. So maybe 30 years.
Was he at Riley? Is that where you first saw him?
Yeah, and then there's another one that I went to before.
Okay.
Another children's hospital that's in Indianapolis. Shriners.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
I don't think it's there anymore though. I think that closed down.
Yeah, I think it did
but
too.
he was at Shriners, and then he got transferred to Riley.
Okay.
And so did I.
And so you have seen him, obviously not consistently near as much as an adult, but since you were 3 years old, right. He's been your doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. And we still stay in contact. He actually, right before Mom passed away, maybe 2 months before she passed away, he came over. Mm-hmm. So he got to see her and everything, and he got to be there, but he'll even hang out with the kids. And it's kind of different now because I'm so used to seeing him as a doctor, but now as an adult, he'll be in like jeans and a regular t-shirt. Right. And I'm like, I don't know who this guy is.
Right. You're not in your hospital. You're not in your hospital clothes.
Yeah, he's not in khakis. Khakis and a dress shirt. He's just in jeans and a regular t-shirt.
That is so funny. You mentioned Dr. Chuck being someone who was a huge influence in the community and probably around the world from some of your answers. So could you share a little bit more with me about that?
Yeah. Right now he's running for Congress.
Okay.
And his slogan is "A doctor in a house." And him and I have talked a little bit because his biggest thing is like wanting to get people who are disabled off of Social Security and working mm-hmm. and feeling independent and feeling like they're contributing to society. Mm-hmm. He wants them to be able to bring home a check like everybody else instead of having to depend on the government, for sure. handouts. So it's a big thing for him to go from being a doctor, especially a doctor for kids, to wanting to run for Congress because he feels like there's a definite change that needs to be made.
Okay. And when he decided to make this, obviously he's, like you said, he's been a doctor for children. Did he see mm-hmm. a great deal of kids who were in situations like you that were disabled in wheelchairs, having not opportunities that they would have seen? I mean, was this kind of this has been building for a while, and he also goes around the world, doesn't he, doing things around the world as well?
Yes. Well, his biggest thing is showing kids that are disabled what they're capable of doing, mm-hmm. that they are capable of doing things, even if, physically they can't do something. Mentally and emotionally, these type of things, they're capable of doing what they are capable of doing. And he expresses that if you are capable of something, take advantage of being able to do that. And there's people, even here in the United States, where they're not trained to handle children with spinal cord injuries. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things where they don't know what to do. So he travels and he trains people and he educates people on it. And he just wants to make sure that everybody's got a fighting chance.
That's really good. That's really awesome. And how have you seen, obviously you've mostly seen him in a doctor capacity, but in those times that you would go and see him in the hospital or he would come see you or whatever that would look like, how have you seen other people respond to him? Have you seen him in that capacity? Have you seen the influences?
And it's one of those things where you could just be in a panic or not know what's going to happen, and he just makes you feel a lot better. And I don't know if it's just the faith that he carries, like, and he gives that to other people, mm-hmm. or if it's just him personally, where he just lights up the room. He makes everything feel so alive. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you mentioned that he was like exciting.
He's the real life, like Patch Adams.
Yeah, I was thinking Patch Adams. That's exactly who I was thinking.
Patch Adams of Indiana.
Oh my gosh. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I need to watch.
He
Maybe I don't
really
need to
is.
watch that show. I shouldn't watch that movie again. Oh, I'll probably
It's
cry.
so sad,
I
but he
know.
really is. And when I see it, when I watch the movie, I'm always like, that is Dr. Chuck. Like, people are so blessed to know somebody like that. And I've like always said it, I'm like, whether he knows it or not, there really are like angels in this world, and he is one of them, whether he thinks that or not, you know. And I'm just kind of like, he doesn't realize what he has done for other people.
And that's amazing. That's amazing to see.
Yeah.
And he's not gone about it in a, you know, trying to get fame and fortune or anything of that nature. He's gone decently unassuming, but he's obviously made impacts in many, many people's lives.
And his biggest thing is he just wants to educate people. He's like, the more people know, the better the world can be.
Right.
So
that makes sense. Do you feel that people who make what we would consider small differences over time create kind of a ripple effect, an impact that goes much bigger than what it intends? And when you run into people who are like Dr. Chuck, what do you see as the common thread in these people's lives that makes them, I don't want to say different or stand out, because part of this is people who do unassuming things and are just doing their thing, but what common thread do you see that go in and out of their lives? So I know that's kind of a lot, so start wherever.
Okay, so I have noticed that, like, specifically with Dr. Chuck, if you go to his hospital, his office, you can hear him in the room next to you or with whoever, and you can hear the patients laughing. You can hear people talking. You can hear them telling stories or telling jokes, laughing, having a good time. And then that door opens and they even come out of the room still laughing, having a good time. So then you get pulled into that, and that puts you into a good mood. It just makes everything feel really light, and it makes everything just, it really does bring people together, because even if you have little differences, those things are put aside because you realize, like, this is another human being, and we can laugh and we can joke and have a good time.
And a lot of times in tough situations too.
Yeah, and even now we see it. Like, even though with the whole virus going around and some people are like really being crazy about it or whatever, you still have the schools making sure that kids have lunches and they're dropping them off on, you know, doorsteps. Or you have like people saying like, come in for a free meal, or, you know, passing out goodie bags with like toilet paper and laundry soap and things that people need. So I definitely think that that when good things are happening, it makes other people want to do good things also.
And it doesn't have to be some grandiose big thing. It can just be dropping off some toilet paper and dropping off a lunch, making people feel
telling
valued.
A joke, making somebody laugh even.
Yes. And there's physical responses. We have physical and mental responses to laughter, and that's huge.
Yeah.
So the common thread. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Dr. Chuck. That's even Dr. Chuck right there, where he just, even if he doesn't have anything or whatever, he just still just talking to him, you feel good.
That's awesome. So the common thread that you see in people who are like that, what would you say that is? What do you think the common thread is?
Empathy. Just I would say that it's empathy, being able to realize, like, I'm a human and these are also other human beings, and I've been through, I've been through this point in my life, so I can totally understand what they're going through. Or I think that's really what it is.
That's good. So my last thing I would like you to share with me, Krystle, is I just want you to share about you. I want to hear about you and who you are as a person, maybe a few things you've been through, how you view life, whatever you want to share. Anything at all. There's no right or wrong answer.
Okay. Just that, I mean, like, really, it's just my kids like that. I have, Willow, who's 8, and Charles, who's 5. And no matter what happens, you just, like, got to continue on with life. So, like even with me being in a wheelchair, or even this, like, virus pandemic, or no matter what is going on, like, I've had to learn to basically just, it's another obstacle you got to go around. You've got to figure out another way, basically. So
would you say that, because some people would consider, and you and I have had conversations about this before, and you're like, I wouldn't change it being in the wheelchair.
No.
And
no, it
caused you,
in disguise.
Yeah, it caused you to have to work around obstacles from 3 years old.
Oh, I'm
literal.
Because I feel like if it didn't happen, I don't know what kind of person I would be, but I feel like because it did happen, it's made me like more of an open person with people. Like because I'm in a chair, like I've learned to use my voice and voice my opinion more, and say what I have to say. Just things like that. So I feel like it's definitely a blessing in disguise. I wouldn't change it. Like, even if I had the opportunity, I wouldn't change it.
And you feel like it's caused you, or maybe not caused, but it has created more empathy in your life. And then you have someone like Dr. Chuck, who is someone who's filled with empathy for people, that it's just, do you think that has guided your outlook on life?
Yeah. And it definitely makes me want to help people more. So, like, if I see somebody struggling, or I get all the time, like, I'll have somebody come up to me and they'll say, how do you drive? Well, I have a cousin who's in a wheelchair and they don't know anything about this. And I love that. I love being able to be like, oh, call this person up. Here's the number for you. This is who you need to get a hold of.
Right.
Just things like that. And I like, when, like, kids specifically, they'll ask questions and maybe their parents try to, like, shush them. Like, in the grocery store, they'll go, oh, I remember one little boy asked me why I was still in a stroller, why I was using a stroller.
Oh, that's awesome.
His mom, she was like, I think she got really scared and she tried hushing him, and I said, no, he's okay. And I just explained to him, and he just thought it was so cool. And at the very end of it, he told me that I was like a beautiful woman. So I just thought that was so adorable. Kids, they really are the best, though. And they're the most understanding, I've realized. Like, the most understanding. You could tell them anything, give them any explanation for anything, and they're just like, all right.
Okay, yeah.
I accept that.
Yeah. Wow, that is really awesome. I love that story. Yeah. I think that is the best. That is fantastic.
Yeah, and I still remember, and I was like, I want to take him home with me.
I know, right? Why are you still in the stroller?
So I think it made his mom feel better, but I think at first she was just kind of like, oh, don't say that, like, hushing him. And I said, oh, no, you're fine. And we kind of had a laugh about it. So
right. And you are an advocate you're an advocate, and you are a spokesperson without necessarily being so, but you are, for just because I have this, it doesn't define who I am. And it's normal, and you can have normal conversations, and you don't have to treat me differently, and just to be normal. I mean, normal is relative, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, like, even then, I get people all the time that, like, they'll see me putting my chair together or taking it apart, and they'll kind of, like, look like, is she really going to drive off? Like, kind of thing.
Right.
Then
am I being pranked here? What's going on?
Yeah. But then people will really come and ask questions, and I love just being able to show them and explain it, because it's like, that's it stops the ignorance of, certain things, like people thinking I can't drive or something. And so they're like, oh, don't let her take off in that car.
Right.
And I'm kind of like, no, there's hand controls, there's things.
That's funny.
But yeah,
Now, if you'd have put on glasses like you were blind, that would have been funnier.
I know, but I hop in the cars and people will like stare at me like maybe she's faking it. I don't know.
I hadn't thought about that perspective. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
So I always have to be like, mind your business. Even if they are faking it, just mind your business.
Mind your business. I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody said, well, if you can drive, you don't need to be parking in the handicapped parking spot. You know, you have ignorant
I've had
people.
people get mad at me.
No.
And then I pull my wheelchair out and then they just kind of like look down to the ground.
Those are the people I want to slap. Oh, I have that recording. Yeah. Sorry, I will erase that.
It's true sometimes. Yeah,
I know it.
Sometimes it's true.
Okay, well, is there anything else that is on your mind or your heart that you want to share in regards to what we've talked about? You know, my heart for this project is, you know, the title of it is Common Ground Impact. And we all have common ground that we can come together on. And it's...
You know what I say? I always say every person has a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person has a crutch, whether you can see it or not. We all have something that hinders us from or disables us from being the best that we want to be.
The best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for some people, it may feel like a physical crutch is worse than a mental crutch or vice versa or whatever. But it's about what you do with whatever crutch that you have. Mm-hmm. And do you make it a roadblock or do you make it an obstacle that you get around?
Right. And it takes work and it takes like a lot of dedication and you just got to love yourself. And that's the other thing. That's what takes time because like you don't just fall in love. You know what I mean? It takes so much time to fall in love with somebody else. So you have to dedicate that same time to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I really don't like how this looks or how this is going, but I'm going to work with it. I'm going to take time to understand it and I'm going to learn to love it.
Yeah. And accept yourself in the process.
Right.
Yeah.